Welcome to this session. In this session, we'll be talking about the sales force compensation. This is a fairly straightforward topic, as you can understand. Uh, Now, first of all, let's understand what is the sales force compensation, or why do we need to talk about the sales force compensation. The most important issue here is this, that the sales force is the most important organ of the selling organization. Okay, they are the frontline people who are interfacing with the customers, who are bringing in business, who are responsible for generating revenues and profits for the company, and they are devoting their time especially for this reason. So you have to compensate them for the efforts that they undertake on behalf of the company. How do you go about compensating the efforts of the sales force is really the topic of discussion. And as we all understand compensation, by compensation we intuitively understand what kind of salaries and payments are you going to make to the sales force personnel so that they perform at a certain desired level or exceed those levels of performance. Okay. Now, if you look at that, then what do you think are the objectives of a sales force compensation plan? Can we get some ideas from you as to what do you think are the objectives of a sales force compensation plan?
Yes, sir. We can say that the salesperson should manage the time effectively.
Okay.
Like he or she should utilize the time optimally.
Absolutely. So there is a question of the most important resource available in the at the disposal of a salesperson is the time. Okay. So how does he manage time, and how do you correlate that time with the revenues that he generates? So there has to be a linkage between the time that he spends in selling and the kind of revenues he generates, and therefore what is the compensation that he should expect for devoting that kind of an effort for generating that kind of revenue over that period of time. So there is obviously the time dimension to compensation.
So it also gives a person the recognition or the status
Yeah.
which he is already holding within the company.
Okay.
And also enhances his status within the company itself.
Absolutely. So the sales force, let's say any individual within a sales force is entitled to a certain level of compensation. Now this compensation goes to show what is his level of performance, what is his level of, or let's say where does he stand in the hierarchy of the selling organization, as to what is the kind of job that he has to do, and what are the career options open to him, what are the other avenues of promotion that he can look forward to. So all these are really built into the sales compensation plan as also. Okay. Shamorpita, do you think there's something else to this?
Yes, sir. He also has a secured income
Absolutely.
and a secured job as such.
Yeah.
Overall.
Right. So he is there in the field. He's trying to sell the products or the services of the company on a day-to-day basis, and therefore he has to have a certain assured income at the end of, let's say, a month, or at the end of a week. He should be assured of a stable income. So stability of income, financial stability are important issues that need to be built into any compensation plan. It is very important. I would say, in fact, the most important idea behind the Salesforce compensation plan is that it should build in some kind of stability for the salesperson to be, working in a manner so that he does not have to worry about tomorrow and the day after. He can look forward with a lot of confidence towards the future. He can think of a better tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Any other issues do you think are
It
involved?
balances the need of a personnel.
Yeah, of course, it balances the needs of personnel. We all have different kinds of needs, and we need to buy products and services ourselves as consumers. And therefore, how do we go about satisfying those needs and wants of ours as consumers? We need to have a revenue flow. And that's the reason we need to have a compensation. So if I'm a salesperson, I have got my own needs to fulfill. And therefore, I look forward to a Salesforce compensation plan that allows me to fulfill my needs and wants by so that I can earn a certain amount of money, which helps me fulfill my needs and aspirations in life as well. Okay, so these really are basically the main objectives behind any Salesforce compensation
I,
plan.
I think that there can be another objective.
Yes.
That if the employees, the salespersons are not compensated well, then they can leave the company also.
Okay, okay. So again, very rightly pointed out. In fact, now many companies are thinking in terms of how to retain the key people, how to retain the more talented employees, how to hold back the more, the above average salesperson. Okay. Now, in order to do that, they also have to design a Salesforce compensation plan. You are absolutely correct in saying this. They have to design a Salesforce compensation plan which is not only competitive in the industry to which the company belongs, but then also it has to have some kind of a edge over other rivals in the same industry, so that an effective salesperson does not think of leaving the company so easily. He has every motivation to carry on, working with that company. That's a very good point to make. Okay. From here we move on in a slightly different direction. We have a look at what are the different types of sales force compensation plan that we normally come across in the industries. Okay. Now, on this count, we would say that there are basically two broad areas into which sales force compensation plans can be divided. One is a straight compensation plan, okay, and the other one is a straight commission plan. A straight salary plan or a straight compensation plan, and the other one is a straight commission plan. Now, as you can understand, the first one talks about more of the fixed income, the fixed component of the compensation. Here, a salesperson does not seem to earn, anything extra for a higher level of performance. He earns a stable amount at the end of every month. Okay, that's a straight salary as we all understand. And in the straight commission plan, as you can understand, the salesperson does not depend on a straight salary at all. On the other hand, he depends entirely on the commissions that he earns as a result of the performance that he generates in the field. Okay, so these are the two broad areas, and then of course there are overlaps, and in fact we have something called a hybrid compensation plan or a compensation plan which is a combinatorial of the two. You can have all that. But the two basic schools of thought are, one, there should be a straight salary, and the other school of thought says there has to be a straight commission plan, and there is no fixed component in that. Let's take up the first one, the straight salary plan. What kind of situations do you think are more, right for this kind of a compensation plan to apply?
So if the job is more of a technical or consultative one, I think it
Okay.
is more applicable in those situations.
Right. So if the job entails, more of consultative kind of services, more of services really, and where you don't get to see the sales results immediately, where you have to put in a lot of effort before you get to see actual sales results, that's one area where you have to, give the salesperson a kind of compensation plan that is more stable. Because if he does not generate sales immediately, he does not earn a salary otherwise, and that's very uncertain for him. So if you want him to, devote attention to more of, selling jobs which are primarily not selling in nature, but then which are supportive in selling, that kind of job calls for more of a straight salary plan. Okay. Yeah. Any other you think?
The missionary style of selling.
That's right.
In that case.
That's right. I hope you understand what missionary selling is, where salespeople are supposed to carry on the job like a missionary, where they don't really sell the product or service directly to the end consumer. Rather, they try to promote the products through certain other people, certain other consultants, certain other experts who stand between them and the end users. For example, a doctor is someone who stands between a medical representative and the patient. Okay, so missionary selling applies to the pharmaceutical field, or let's say to the publishing field, where a salesperson in a publishing house actually does not sell the books to the students, but then he goes to the professors and the faculty members or teachers, and through them they try to promote those books to the students. Okay, now that's what is referred to as missionary selling. Now here again you can imagine that the salesperson is not directly dealing with the end consumer, and therefore he is not responsible for generating day-to-day sales as such. But then he has to sell the concept to those people who will promote the idea to the end consumers. Now, these people cannot be made to depend on a commission. They have to be paid some kind of a straight salary. Fine. So we understand that if there are more service components in a job, and if it is more of a consultative nature, it's more of a technical nature, where the gestation period is quite high between, you're making a sales effort and actually getting the sales result, when the gestation time is high, that kind of situation calls for more of a straight salary plan. Okay. Now, do you think there are certain advantages that are there for this plan?
So the fixed expenditure of the employers.
Okay, right. So the employer can look forward to certain fixed expenditure. His salary bills are fixed. He does not have to depend on any uncertainty as far as the salary bills are concerned. He knows at the end of the month what is his liability in terms of the salary bill or the wage bill. Okay. So, yeah, that's right. From the employer's point of view, the calculations are minimum. He knows what to expect as salary cost at the end of the period. And therefore, he is quite clear as to what the involvement is all about. Okay.
It's very easier to calculate.
It is very easy to calculate and quite easy to administer also. Administration is another point of it. It's easy to calculate, easy to administer. You don't have to keep several records because there are no commissions involved. You, at the end of the month, you simply pay a salary and that's it. You don't have to maintain a whole lot of records.
It gives the
Okay.
salespersons a very secured kind of feeling.
That's right. If you look at it from the salesperson's point of view, the advantage is quite big. because he's assured of a fixed income, and that gives you a lot of mental stability. Many people feel that, unless you have a salesperson who is mentally quite stable and does not have financial worries at the back of his mind, then he can devote more time to productive selling.
So
So that's one advantage.
One
Yeah.
thing which comes to my mind is
Yeah.
that it also provides an efficient control for the management itself over the salespeople.
Absolutely right. Yes, a straight salary plan, as we said, is quite easy to administer, and therefore it gives the management a bigger control. And because, let's say, a management can say that since I am paying you a straight salary, I would expect you to carry out these jobs additionally. So you can always, it's always easier for the management to get the salesperson to agree to do jobs, other than the regular selling job also. Many a times, because of exigencies, you might require that management would expect the salespeople to do certain extra jobs in the field. For example, if you want to collect some market research information from the field, and you want to utilize the salespeople for doing it. Now, on a straight commission plan, people will not agree to do it because they are being paid commissions for selling and not for any other job. So if you really want salespeople to be involved in some non-selling activities from time to time, then the management is in a better position if the compensation plan is of the straight salary type rather than a straight commission type, wherein you really cannot expect the salesperson to devote time to other non-selling jobs because he'll be robbed of his commission in trying to do so. So you can't justifiably expect the salesperson to do it.
So also it may happen as such that if the compensation plan is straight,
Yeah.
in that case a transfer of the salespeople from one territory to other also becomes easier.
That is
you
right,
already
yeah.
have a base
That is
plan,
right.
and based upon that,
Yeah.
you can build upon the commission basis or anything like
That's
that.
quite right. Let's imagine a situation where he does not earn any commission at all. Now he's dependent on a fixed salary. So he does not really worry about whether I sell in this territory or in some other territory because he does not, he does not lose anything by shifting from one territory to another territory. He does not lose anything by shifting from one product to another product. So, the flexibility is much more from the management's perspective if you have a straight salary plan.
So from
Yeah.
the perspective of the salesperson,
Yeah.
isn't there a motivational gap because he is not rewarded for his work?
As a matter of fact, that is a weakness. In fact, we will take up the weaknesses, and this is one of the strongest weaknesses of this plan, that it does not provide a sufficient motivation to the salesperson to do a better than average job. For example, he can always argue that why should I do more? If I have got to earn the same salary at the end of the month as somebody else who is doing much worse than me, then why should I put that extra effort to do better than him? Because we are, after all, being compensated at the same level. And the argument is quite valid. Why should he exert himself more when the pay does not, fluctuate with his performance? Okay, so that is in fact an inherent weakness of the sales of the salary plan because it does not factor in, the performance aspect of it at all. It compensates the salesperson absolutely based on a stable plan, and there is no reward, neither is there a punishment for underperformance, mind you. So again, the management loses out on this count that the management neither can it reward a deserving salesperson nor can it punish an underperforming salesperson. The liability is much the same, and as if the management views all at the same platform, which is not really the case, which is not a desirable situation as well.
So it
Okay.
can happen as such that in administering like this case,
Yeah.
for the straight plan, the management loses some people and increases the turnover because some may be overpaid and some may be
Quite
less
true.
paid.
Yeah, I mean, the fallout of what Shamarpita just said, that there are some people who would be better than average performers. Now, what is going to be their feeling? They will feel that in spite of my better efforts, I am not being rewarded in a better way. So let me leave the organization and move to greener pastures where I will be earning more and where my efforts will be more appreciated than in this organization. So the company will tend to lose out more on the above average performers. And similarly, the hangers on will always be there. Those who do not want to perform, they will always try to hide behind underperformance because of the straight salary plan, and they'll have no motivation to move out. And the management also will have no mechanism by which it can, turn out these underperformers and retain the above average performance. Fine, so that is in fact another weakness of the straight salary plan. Let's take a break at this point of time, and after the break, we'll talk about the other commission plan and a combinatorial plan. Okay, thank you. Welcome back. Before the break, we have been talking about the Salesforce compensation plan. We pick up from there and we go into further discussions on a different type of Salesforce compensation plan. Before the break, we have been talking about the straight salary plan. and we try to look into what are the advantages and what are the weaknesses of such a plan. Let us now look at the second kind of plan, which is the straight commission plan. A straight commission plan, as you can understand quite easily, is a plan where the salesperson depends entirely on his commission earnings. Okay, he does not have the benefit of a fixed component of salary, but then whatever his earnings are, they are based on his performance, and whatever performance he does, that translates into commissions for him. That's the basic philosophy behind a straight commission plan.
Yeah, in that case, it is advantageous because we can differentiate who are average, who are poor, who are star performers.
That's right. So from the perspective of the management, it is a better plan in the sense that it gives you, the benefit of finding out who is a better performer, who is an average performer, and who is a less than average performer. Okay, it allows you to understand and evaluate performance objectively. That's more important. Objective assessment of performance is enabled by a salary plan that is of this nature. That's right. Okay.
So another can be that it helps the management to efficiently sell the targets to the frontline people.
Okay. Yeah, the target essentially translates into commissions for the salesperson if you look at it from his point of view. Okay. So he does not fight shy of a target. He looks forward to a target, tries to fulfill it, and strives harder to exceed the target many a time, because he knows that if I fulfill the target, then I fulfill my earning requirement as well. And if I don't, then I fall behind in terms of my earnings also. So there is a direct linkage between his performance and his earnings, and which is what it should be also. From the point of view of management, there has to be a linkage between performance and the compensation that they shell out to the salesperson. So that is more justifiable and more defensible from the management's angle.
So in this way, it helps the
Yeah.
performer or the salesperson to strive for the bigger
Absolutely.
sales volume.
So he goes after the target, with a lot of enthusiasm. If the as we said in the discussion prior to the break, like in a straight salary plan, he has no incentive to strive harder, to try harder to achieve more. Okay, because he is not benefited by doing so. But in this case, he knows that his efforts directly translate into commission, and he gets to maybe he becomes the highest earner in the organization. And many a times, such people, they earn more than their superiors in the organization. So that gives some kind of an ego booster to them, and that kind of spurs a higher level of effort on the part of the salesperson, and that's really the cornerstone of a philosophy like that. Yeah. Do you think there are any weaknesses behind it?
So the customer services are overlooked.
Right. So it can lead to a situation where the salesperson does not really give much of an importance to a function like customer service, because the customer service is not selling, really speaking. It's a sales support function. So why should I spend time giving service to the customer if I get to know that my earnings depend exclusively on the quantities that I sell, on the volumes that I sell? So I would tend to neglect functions which, again, from the company's point of view, are quite crucial. The company ideally would like the customer to get service from the salesperson also, but then there is no way the company can ensure that such a salesperson would really spend time and take time off and give service to the customer. So a very vital function like customer service might be neglected to some extent. Absolutely correct.
So therefore, emphasizing on the same point which
Yeah.
is harped upon,
Yeah.
so the long-term relationship actually gets affected.
That
in
is
this
right.
aspect.
Yeah, the customer, fine. I mean, for the first time, when the salesperson is trying to sell the product very aggressively, he gives his best effort because he has to break through and get that order, get that business from the customer. He does a very good job of it. But then once the customer has been taken over, then he does not look back because he's now looking for other customers. So he does not go back to the customer, and then the customer does not find service. The customer feels that there's a de-link between himself and the company because the salesperson does not seem to, look up the customer once in a while, unless there is a new question of business coming his way. Such things, tend to happen when the sales force is exclusively reliant on the commission.
The
goodwill suffers over a long span of time. Yeah, the goodwill of the company might really suffer and get eroded over time. That's quite possible.
So moreover,
Yeah.
another point could be that it also hinders the transfer across the territories for the
Okay.
personnel. I mean,
Okay.
So
Right,
he
yeah.
doesn't really want to move ahead with
Yeah, I hope you are getting what Shamarpita is trying
So
to
he does, the
put
salesperson
forward.
doesn't want to shift from
Shift
a
from-
already potential
yeah,
territory to
territory
That's
to-
right.
the
to a
next.
newer
Absolutely.
territory.
So if I'm a salesperson handling a territory which I think has got a lot of potential and I have been able to develop that market and I've got very good customers who give me regular business in big volumes, then if the company tells me to shift out of that territory and go to some other territory which is got a lower potential or which does not, which needs to be cultivated, and then the
So
question
you
of
have to
business
start
comes,
anew.
start afresh and start anew, then it becomes difficult, and the salesperson will obviously be resistant, and he will try to resist such a move, and therefore restricting of territories or redrawing of territories can become quite difficult if the management thinks of doing it. It is going to face a lot of opposition from the sales force like that. Yeah.
So the administrators of the company is having lesser control over the salespeople.
This is right. Yeah, from the control perspective, the company seems to lose out. See, the point is, in many cases, if you are expecting the sales force to be dependent exclusively on a commission, then they are like independent business people, okay, who do their job, earn their money, and go home, and the company somehow is given the short shrift. The company cannot get the sales force, as I said in some in connection with some other point, that if you want some other services to be given by the salesperson to the company, you really can't expect that. For example, you can't expect people to go around and collect, market feedback data by salespeople who are dependent exclusively on commission. In fact, that's where the management loses out on control. It cannot get many of the activities which are non-selling in nature to be done by the salespeople.
So record keeping becomes difficult henceforth.
Okay, record keeping is another aspect because the salespeople are all on commissions, and maybe there are commissions, on different commissions on different products, different commissions for different slabs of sales volume, different commissions in different territories depending on potential. Maybe okay. Now that makes the whole thing very complicated, and to administer such a plan becomes quite cumbersome, and you have to really have a lot of database and you have to keep a lot of records in the company to really be able to do justice to such a plan over time. Record keeping activities increase manyfold as a result of this.
The salesperson can be so aggressive to get higher and higher commissions.
Yeah.
They can also forget to report to their bosses. They can
True.
neglect that work.
Very true. Yeah, another important point coming out here is this, that as sales managers, you will require many sales reports from the field. From time to time, you want different kinds of reports to be generated by the field salespeople, and much of that will be devoted to competition, what is happening in terms of competition, what are the new developments in territories, what kind of new products are coming in, what kind of different sales promotion campaigns are being launched by the rival companies, and all those things. Now, salespeople, who are dependent on a commission plan tend to ignore such details because they have a complete apathy towards reporting. They look at reporting as an added burden. And moreover, the company is really not on a firm ground to ask the salespeople to do non-selling jobs, because it's really going against what the company has told the salespeople already. You sell and earn your money. Now, I can't expect the people to believe otherwise, once I have given them a straight commission plan. So that's where the company again loses out.
So another aspect can be highlighted, that in an attempt to earn more commission and increasing the sales volume, it may happen that the sales margin or the profit margin actually decreases. However,
That's
the
right.
volume increases, the margin decreases.
Quite true. The point
Therefore,
here,
the management is on the loser side.
True.
In that case.
Now, let's take a situation. Suppose there are two kinds of products. Okay, one type of product sells in volumes and therefore has got lower margins, lower rates of commission. Okay, and let's say there's another product that does not sell in bigger volumes, but then it has got a higher profitability and therefore the margins are also higher. Now, if you have something like that, then it's a balanced line where the salesperson will be motivated to sell both the types of products, because sometimes he'll be looking at volumes in commission, sometimes he'll be looking at the per unit commission. It compensates his efforts. But then if you don't have a scheme like that where your product commissions are also different depending on the effort required to make a sale, then the salesperson, what he will try to do is he'll try to sell the easy to sell product more than the one which is difficult to sell. So you will not be at the end of the day selling a balanced line of products, because people will tend to sell more of those products which sell in volumes, and they will try to make up their commission in volumes rather than trying to spend more effort, and maybe the uncertainty is more because maybe they'll not be able to sell more of the difficult to sell product which carries a higher profit margin and a higher commission rate. So they'll not be motivated to sell that kind of a product. That's also another problem inherent in a commission plan.
So the
Yeah.
salespersons can think that the customers are his or her personal account.
True. Yeah, the salesperson, because they are quite liberated, they are like, businessmen in their own rights, in their own territories. They become kings in their territories, kind of, and they do not like the company interfering in their markets, in their territories, and they kind of start believing that the company accounts, the corporate accounts, or the customer accounts which they handle are their private property, private accounts, and they do not really want the company also to come in between, and that's certainly not a desirable state of things from the company's point of view. All that leads to the company again losing control and losing touch with the marketplace, and that's certainly not a desirable state of affairs. So let's say it becomes more of a laissez-faire when people go after things in their own way, and the company loses control in the bargain. So there are, as we can see, although it does promote performance, it does motivate higher level of performance, but then it also robs the company in other ways, like it loses control. And in fact, if you also look at it, the stability of income business is also lost. There are many people, many of us, will not be very comfortable in a situation like this, where at the end of the month we cannot positively say that this is the amount that we are going to take home. Then that becomes a little bit of a problem, and not very many people are very comfortable with this kind of a situation.
So since for the average performance, it becomes very difficult to sell huge volumes and earn bigger profits or bigger commissions.
That is right.
In that case.
And to tell you what, in many companies it is seen that when they start administering a direct commission plan, many of the sales force people leave, because they cannot deal with that uncertainty which is inherent in a plan like that. So that's an important aspect of the straight commission plan. Okay, so let's take, we have not been able to conclude, there are other issues also involved in designing a Salesforce compensation plan, but then we will discuss it in some other session. Thank you.